All right, today we're digging into a really startling claim from, well, pretty much the single most important person in the entire AI hardware revolution. And it's a statement that makes you ask, who's really winning the global AI race?
And boom, there it is, the CEO of NVIDIA, the company whose chips are literally the engine of all modern AI, told the Financial Times flat out that China is set to win. Now you can imagine, coming from him, that single sentence sent absolute shockwaves through the tech world.
So that's the big puzzle we're here to unpack, right? Why on earth would the guy at the absolute epicenter of America's AI leadership make a claim like that? Well, it turns out there are three fascinating and frankly kind of unexpected reasons.
Okay, let's get into the first reason. And what's wild is it has less to do with the fancy silicon inside a chip and, everything to do with the simple socket in the wall. It's all about a fundamental infrastructure bottleneck.
The argument here is actually pretty simple, but it's huge. Having the world's fastest, most advanced AI chips is great, but that's only half the battle. If you can't actually plug those chips in and get them the power they need, they're not just slow, they're basically expensive paperweights.
And get this isn't just a theory. There's an incredible, real-world example. Microsoft has already bought a bunch of GPUs that it literally cannot turn on because it doesn't have the energy infrastructure in place. I mean, they've got the world's most powerful engines, but not enough fuel to even start them.
And this is where you really see the two different game plans. The US is wrestling with an older grid and this, complicated mess of state-by-state rules, which makes building new, power-hungry data centers really slow and difficult. But on the other side, you've got China's all-in centralized strategy. They've got subsidized energy and a laser-focused national mission to just build out the infrastructure that AI needs.
There's a brilliant way to think about this, and it's a simple analogy. It really doesn't matter if you're driving a super fast sports car if you're stuck in traffic only going 60. A basic sedan, a Chevy Nova, just flying down an open road at 80 miles per hour is gonna win that race every single time. The point is, the speed of your deployment can totally beat a raw technological advantage.
All right, let's move to the second key reason, and this one is a real head-scratcher. It's a fascinating paradox, all about a U.S. policy that might be accidentally creating the very competitor it was designed to slow down.
So here's how the logic goes. First, the U.S. restricts access to its best chips. That means Chinese tech giants, who are suddenly cut off from buying NVIDIA's latest and greatest, are now forced to pour billions into their own local chip makers. And the wild, unintended result? A policy that was supposed to be a roadblock might actually be funding the construction of a whole rival semiconductor superhighway.
Now for the third factor. In this one, it isn't about hardware, it's not about policy, it's about something way more intangible. But maybe, just maybe, even more important, it's about the national mood, a crisis of confidence.
I mean, just look at this. It's this incredible trend where so many of the most celebrated leaders in American tech are also the most vocal about AI's apocalyptic dangers. And when the very people building the future are that publicly pessimistic, it becomes incredibly hard to rally the national support you need for a massive Apollo-style project like deploying AI.
And that's why this quote from Huang himself really hits home. His point is that this widespread cynicism acts like a handbrake on progress. To win a monumental race, you need the collective optimism to believe you can win. And the argument here is that this crucial ingredient is running dangerously low.
But just when you think you've got it all figured out, the story takes a fascinating twist. Just hours after that explosive quote went public, NVIDIA put out an official clarification from Huang that adds a whole new layer of complexity to this entire debate. Okay, so let's just quickly remember where we started. Right here. A stark, unambiguous prediction that basically sounded like the race was already over. This is the comment that sparked the whole firestorm. But then we get this, and it's a completely different vibe. Here, Huang says China is nanoseconds behind, and then it's vital for America to win by racing ahead. See, this isn't a statement of defeat at all. It's an urgent call to action. It completely reframes that first comment, suggesting it wasn't a prediction, but a warning.
So when you put both of those statements together, the real question becomes crystal clear. Is Jensen Huang saying the race is already lost? Or is he sounding a massive alarm that America's biggest opponent isn't another country, but its own internal roadblocks, its energy grid, its unintended policies, and its own fearful mindset? Maybe the real AI race isn't about beating China at all, but about America finally getting out of its own way. And that's the thought we'll leave you with.